I never thought I would remember my sister's wedding for the rest of my life. Weddings are supposed to be beautiful. They're supposed to be about joy, about love, about family coming together. That's what people will tell you. That's what you see in movies. But for me, that day, it became a reminder of something else entirely. I remember the flowers, the music, the elegant guests in gowns and tuxedos. But what I remember most clearly is a plastic chair. A wobbly little chair pushed against the wall, right next to the kitchen door where waiters and cooks rushed in and out. That was my seat. That was the place my family thought I deserved. When I arrived, I was early. I had chosen my dress carefully, not expensive, but modest, clean, and respectful. I had even done my own hair, simple curls that I hoped would look good in pictures. I walked into the glowing lobby, filled with laughter and the sound of cameras clicking. Everyone seemed excited, radiant, prepared for the perfect day. I thought maybe, just maybe, my sister would surprise me. Maybe she would have a seat for me close to her. Maybe she had thought about me after all. But then my mother approached. She didn't hug me. She didn't even smile. She looked me up and down, sighed, and said, "We weren't sure you'd actually come. There's not really space inside. You'll be fine near the service door." At first I thought she was joking. My mother has never been affectionate. But maybe she was teasing me? I laughed nervously. But she didn't laugh. She turned her head and walked away. An usher stepped forward and gestured for me to follow him. And I did. Step by step, I walked past sparkling tables covered in white linens, glasses of champagne already lined up, and chandeliers that glowed like fire above the dance floor. I walked past relatives who pretended they didn't see me, or who whispered behind their hands. And finally, I was led into the corner. The corner by the swinging kitchen door. The chair was plastic. The table wobbled. The sound of pans clattering and cooks shouting spilled out every time the door swung open. And from the other side, the side I wasn't welcome in, I could hear laughter, music, champagne glasses clinking. That was my invitation. Cousins passed by and acted like I wasn't even there. Finally, one leaned down and smirked. "Why are you hiding back here?" "Oh, wait. They put you here, didn't they?" Then he snapped a photo on his phone and walked away, laughing. My chest burned. I stared at the floor. I kept telling myself, "It doesn't matter. I'm just here to support my sister. It's her big day. Don't make a scene. Don't cry." But it wasn't easy. Time crawled. Waiters brushed past me, barely noticing. At one point, one of them whispered, embarrassed, "Oh. Sorry, I thought you were staff." That cut deeper than anything, because at that moment, that's exactly what I looked like. Invisible. Disposable. I sat there, alone, and memories came flooding back. It wasn't the first time my family had pushed me aside. Growing up, I was always the extra, the one without talent, the one without the right clothes, the one who never fit in. My sister was the golden child. She was the princess, the one who could do no wrong. And me? I was the shadow. I remembered birthdays where my gifts were laughed at, Christmas mornings where I was given socks while my sister got jewelry, family dinners where my voice was drowned out. It was always the same story. She belonged. I didn't. So, sitting there by the kitchen, it felt familiar. Too familiar. From my corner, I could see everything. My sister in her white gown, radiant, spinning across the dance floor. Guests circling her like satellites, showering her in attention. At one point, my aunt raised a glass and shouted, "To family! Real family!" Her eyes flicked deliberately, in my direction. Laughter erupted. My stomach twisted. I pressed my hands together under the table so no one would see them shake. A server, maybe out of pity, placed a glass of plain water in front of me. No champagne, just water. A plastic chair, a wobbling table, and a glass of water. That was my place in the family, but I stayed. Because I knew something they didn't. A week before the wedding, my sister had called me. Not to invite me warmly. Not to tell me she loved me. But to ask for help. "We can't afford the full band," she said. "Could you do something? You always save money, don't you?" I didn't hesitate. I had been saving for months. I wanted her day to be beautiful. I wanted her to have the music she dreamed of. So I called the orchestra director myself. I paid the invoice in full. Thousands of dollars. Money I could have used for myself, but I didn't. And I asked for just one thing. That my name remain discreet. I didn't want applause. I didn't need recognition. I thought silence was enough. But what I got that night wasn't silence. It was humiliation. As the evening went on, the laughter grew louder, the champagne flowed. The insults became sharper. At one point, a cousin leaned close and whispered, "At least you're close to the food, right?" He laughed as if he had made the cleverest joke in the world. I bit my lip so hard it almost bled. I kept telling myself, "Wait. Just wait. Your moment is coming." And then, the lights dimmed. The music quieted. The bandleader stepped forward and tapped his microphone. The hall fell silent. The bandleader raised a gold-sealed envelope, the same one I had signed with trembling hands. He smiled at the crowd and said, "Before the first dance, we would like to thank the sponsor who made tonight's music possible." My sister's face drained of color. She whispered frantically, shaking, her head, trying to stop it. Too late. The bandleader cleared his throat. "Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking my full name." For one endless moment, the hall didn't move. And then, like a wave, every head turned toward the kitchen door. Toward me. The spotlight swung, and suddenly I wasn't invisible anymore. I was the only thing anyone could see. My aunts froze, champagne halfway to their lips. My cousins stopped laughing. One nearly dropped his glass. My mother stared down at her plate, ashamed. And my sister, her smile cracked like glass. The wedding planner rushed forward, nearly tripping, to pull out a chair at the head table. But I didn't move. I stayed seated on that plastic chair by the kitchen. I smiled faintly. I lifted my chin, and I simply nodded at the bandleader. He bowed, turned back to his musicians, and raised his baton. The music began. The first dance unfolded. My sister twirled, but the joy on her face was gone. The laughter had vanished from the room. And for the rest of the night, no one dared to look at me with mockery again. That's how I learned. Sometimes the quietest. Proof speaks louder than the loudest humiliation. They sat me by the kitchen, but everyone remembers who paid for the orchestra.